Okay everybody, welcome to iPad Training Day 5. On today's schedule, we're first going to start with a step-by-step look at how you can do a few different things with your iPads, in specific screenshots, organizing your camera roll, and then finally getting everything set up for AirDrop. From there, we are going to move into our app of the day, which is Explain Everything, one of my first personal favorites, and we're going to have a little bit of a challenge checklist here that we have to complete related to Explain Everything. So let's get right into it here. Screenshot, screen capture, same idea here. How do you do this on an iPad? This is a pretty simple one. This is only going to take us a couple seconds. So to take a picture of the screen that you have currently on your iPad, all that you have to do is simultaneously, meaning at the same time, push the front button as well as the top button. If you do this, you will hear a click and your screen will flash. So that's how you can tell if you have done this correctly. So try it out on your own here, see if you can do it. Now the one thing that I always tell people about this is, with an iPad versus a computer, let's say, on a computer you can typically pick how large of an area you would like to take a screenshot of. On an iPad it just gives you the whole screen. When you are done, something to consider is going into your photos and editing your photos and cropping them if you would like to get rid of some spaces on them. But that's that. Now, you're going to be using a lot of applications here soon that utilize your camera roll, and you already probably have used some. How can you organize your camera roll now? You have an application that is called Photos that is one of the native iPad apps that's always on there from the beginning, even without us adding them on. In this app you can do a couple different things. What I want to show you here really quickly is how you can create a new album in which you could organize your photos and videos. In specific, this will be very beneficial for when you're using iMovie later on in the year, which I would imagine just about everybody will. If you look at the bottom of the screen, when you open up Photos, it's either going to take you directly to your photos, it'll take you to something that's shared, which probably not many of you have set up, or it will take you to Albums. If you click on Albums, and then you come up here to the top left, you'll see there's a plus sign. Now notice your current albums that you have here. You only have 3, Camera Roll, My Photo Stream, and Videos. Not very much. What if you wanted to create one that was, let's say, Science Fair Project? Well, how would you do that? Simple. You come up here, you push on the plus sign, and then it will allow you to first type in the name, and I type the name as Sample, as you can see right here. And then it asks you next to add in whatever pictures you would like. Now, if you would like to add all of the ones you took in a row on a certain day, you can just click on Select over on the side. You can see this one says Deselect because I already did choose them all. Or if you would like to manually pick out each one, you can also come in and do that as I have on these few right here. When you are ready, you just push Done, and then it creates your new, as you can see over here, your new album that you have to use. It's a very nice thing for organizing your photos. Next, let's talk about AirDrop. So, what is AirDrop and how does it work? AirDrop is a way that you can share files very quickly and easily back and forth between devices. So let's say you are working in a group and the 3 of you are creating an iMovie project and each of you has certain pieces of it. How do you get it back and forth? Well, I'll tell you this right now. If you email it, it's actually going to show up a little bit poorer quality because the email typically is in 360p. You could potentially upload it to Google Drive, but you're going to run into the same problem. Whereas if you AirDrop it, it does keep the quality of the video at the same level, which is really good. Now, when you do this, one thing that people are always asking about is how do I change the name of my iPad? And for those of you who don't know AirDrop yet, you'll understand why this is important here in a couple minutes. So I want to get you set up with this because we will use AirDrop more in our next challenge, not just today. So if you click on the settings wheel, or gear, and then you choose General, the top choice you're going to have here is About. If you click on this About, the very first thing that you're going to have in the top, and I have it a little bit grayed out, so I apologize for that, is going to be the name. I changed mine to Mr. Wilson's iPad. If you would like to put your first name and last name here, I'd say that that would probably be a good idea, so that if you are trying to AirDrop, other people will know it's you and not some other child named Matthew or Michael, since there, in many cases, are going to be many of you with the same names. Now, once you change this, it will show up differently for other people. In case you're still thinking, like, wait a minute, what is this whole AirDrop thing? If you look at the bottom here, we have this window, and you can see that it says AirDrop here. If you click on this right here, it's not going to let you share anything, but it will let you accept shares from somebody else. If you would like to share something, here's the real quick rundown of how AirDrop works. And again, we will use it more coming up in our next challenge. Not today, but the next one with iMovie. Let's say you find a photo that you would like to share. So we're back into our camera roll here. You click on it, then you click on the box that has the arrow pointing out of it. I selected this picture right here, and you can tell that I selected it because it has that blue circle filled in with a check mark. If I want, I can click on AirDrop over here on the left, and then I can say, okay, I want to send this to, and it will show up with every person who is currently in the AirDrop atmosphere, I guess we could say. It's basically on our wireless network. But whoever's in AirDrop currently, and I can choose. So I could say, okay, I would like to give this to Mr. Demar. And if Mr. Demar has clicked on AirPlay on his iPad, it'll work very quickly and very easily, and it will be, and you actually can share very large file sizes as well this way, which is very, very nice. So you're really only going to be entering AirDrop if somebody in specific tells you that they would like to share a file with you through this method. So that's something to keep in mind for the future. And again, once you are ready, all that you have to do is come back in here and push on the AirDrop icon on the bottom. That's when you're ready to accept one. So hopefully that was helpful. On to Explain Everything. Again, one of my favorite apps. I really like Explain Everything for a lot of reasons. I would describe Explain Everything as being Notability that's not quite as polished in certain ways. There are certain things that are a little bit not perfect, let's say, in comparison with some of the things that Notability does very well. However, with Explain Everything, there are a couple features that it exceeds Notability with, and that's what we really want to focus on. First is the fact that you can add in a lot of videos to your notes. So let's say you have a note guide that you're working on in Explain Everything. You can add a live video in there that you can actually take notes with while you're watching the video, which is nice. Again, it can be a little bit finicky, so it's not perfect, but that is an option that you have. The other thing that's really nice about Explain Everything is that it lets you export all of your work as a video file. Now I have YouTube here because this is a means that a lot of teachers use for publishing videos that they do in their different classes. But you could use this even just to email the video of your file to somebody else as well. Which brings us to our challenge for today. For today's challenge, there are two rules as always. No touching anyone else's iPad. Give them advice, but you cannot touch it. And don't be scared to press buttons. With Explain Everything in specific, this is where it gets very, very important because there are a lot of different buttons here. And you'll find that especially in the menu that you have whenever you're working, or I shouldn't say the menu, but within your project file, there are a lot of buttons on the left-hand side. If you tap on them, that does one thing. If you hold on them or double tap them, it does something else. So don't be afraid to try and see what all of those buttons can do on the left because they can do some pretty cool things. Here's our checklist for today. You need to import this checklist into Explain Everything. It will be in your email, so import it that way. Next, you need to check off the items on the list as you complete them, and you need to do this using the pen tool. Next, you need to create a text box that has your name and then change the font, the size, and the ink color. So I want you to first type in the box and then make the changes afterwards. Next, with the pen tool, write your favorite food in purple ink. I chose purple just because I want you to have to pick an ink color that does not show up as one of the three inks in the bottom left. You'll see when you get into the app. Because I want you to see also how you can make a lot of different color inks there. Then let's get into the good stuff about Explain Everything. Let's make a video, and I want you to use the laser pointer tool while explaining how you completed each of the tasks above, and also use the pen tool in your recording. So somewhere along the line, use the pen, maybe even check it off, underline something, whatever, just so you can see how you can work this out. And by the way, something you may want to use this for in the future, and really what I think you will want to use it for, is peer editing. This would be a great way for you to help each other looking over whether it be homework or a paper and it's a rough draft. This is a great way to give each other feedback is by editing in this fashion. Then I want you to watch a playback of your recording. It will give you an idea as to what your partner is going to see with this, theoretically, if you do give them feedback. Then to save, we need to look at all the saving options. You need to save your work as a project file and then back it up in your Google Drive. Again, you'll see how to do this, and given that you've been working with this a little bit more lately, this should be a bit easier. And then once you're finished with the above items, explore with all the other settings in this app to find something else worth sharing with your classmates. Okay. This is something that I really want you to try with, especially if there's a button that has an I in it, like the lowercase letter I. See what you can do there, locking things in the background, locking the sizes. You may find a use for this later on, but we will see. Okay, so that is that. Teachers, stay tuned for the explanation of how to complete all of these different things if you are interested. Okay, so let's start with this. We have our email open and we have this new little PDF that's currently located here. How can I open this up and explain everything? First, I'm going to tap and hold on this, and I'm going to then choose to open and explain everything. There we go. So from here it asks me how I would like to import this. I'm going to choose to import this. Let's see. Save current project and import as a new project. That's perfect. For you, it's probably just going to ask you to open this as a new project, or it will just automatically do that if you don't have one currently open. So here we go. Now I have our checklist here, and it says the first one is import this checklist and to explain everything, and the second one says check off the items on this list as you complete them using the pen tool. Probably need a comma there, but that's okay. So the pen tool over here on the left, as you can see, we have the pen there. We're going to then select OK. I already completed that one. Let's change the pen color. Use blue. There we go. And the second one, I will check off the items as we go. Okay, create a text box that has your name and then change the font, size, and ink color. So I'm going to then click on the A on the left because that is our text box. There we go. I'm going to put Mr. Wilson. There we go. I'm going to shrink that box just to make it look a little bit nicer. Let's see. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Check. Okay, now how can I change this around? What can I do to change the actual ink color and ink size? So I can do a couple different things. I can select all, and then I can come over here and I can say, okay, let's make this bold. Let's do some other things like that. Or I can also come over to the side and I can change the ink color by choosing the colors over here. If I wanted to make it green, I could do that. That's another option that I have. If I want to change some other things, if I click and hold on the A up here, it allows me to change the font size or the font type and size. So I could choose different sizes and fonts. I can make it smaller or larger. I can add a border to this. I can do a lot of different things that will allow me to change it within this specific text box. Okay, so those are some options that we have there that are available to us. I'm going to delete that one for us for right now. Okay, so there we go. They have that. Now I'm going to move my name up to the top just to make that nice and simple. And let's check off another one. Next, let's go to with the pen tool, write your favorite food in purple ink. So let's see, if I click and hold on this, it's going to let me change the ink color. Let's see, is that purplish? There, that's purple enough. My favorite food, I don't really know, so we'll just say water. There we go, that's fun. And we have that now, so we've changed our ink color. Now on to making a recording. This is going to be a recording of a recording that I'm doing here, so hopefully it doesn't distort the quality here. But nonetheless, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you have all the different choices you would have on a traditional VHS. So if we click on the red circle there, it now starts the recording. And as you can see, the number is counting up here. And this is going to allow us, and by the way, in case you don't know what I'm talking about, look right below that arrow. But it's actually recording everything that's going on the screen. So we can go through, we can circle some things here. Like I could actually tell you right now that, you know what, as I'm looking at this, maybe I should have you change the font size and ink color and all of that before you actually start typing, but that's okay. I think that would make it a lot easier on everybody. But that's one thing I could write here. I could also come in and point on the left. We have the little bullseye looking thing. If I tap on that and then I start highlighting, you can see what's going to happen here. It's going to show up on the screen as you're going. So I might say, like, okay, when we're done, we're going to watch a playback of the recording. Or if you had an image on the screen, you might say, look up here in this location of the image. See that video camera? So you can think about all the different ways that you as a teacher would use this. Let's say you're diagramming a sentence. This might be something you would like to use. And if you click and hold the button, you get all kinds of different things. So sometimes what I had done is use the pointer finger to point out certain things in this. So I could say, like, see, explain everything right here. The kids wind up playing, and just so you know, with the lightsaber because they think the lightsaber is really cool and they can use that as well. But nonetheless, that's that. So we've done this. We can now push pause, and if I push play, it will play back all of the things that we've just done, and it will also add in my audio. Now, I have my volume down, and that's why you can't really hear that right now. Okay, so let's go through and let's make our final little marks here. So I made a video, I watched the playback. Now let's go to save. If we click down here in the bottom right, we have the folder icon. I'm going to call this one sample, and I'm going to save it. Now since I saved it, all that it did is it saved it into my Explain Everything folder right here, and this one was titled Sample, so you can see it up in the top row there. That's okay because it saves it on the device, but if you want to save it further, the other thing that can be done is clicking on that folder and then choosing Export To. When you choose Export To, it gives you a lot of options. Now up top you can see you can save it as a video file, a PDF, an image, or a project. For me, I only use project and video files as saving. I've had a lot of problems with PDF and I never really have tried images. It's your call, but I'll tell you those are the ways that I would like to do it. You have lots of different places you can save it to now. If you look at the bottom, you have iTunes and Dropbox and Evernote and Google Drive. So you could use Google Drive. This is one that I definitely would suggest using, and this is something that a lot of people have used. One that we commonly use, though, that is kind of nice, is under the More section. If you scroll down, the bottom choice is Mail. So you could email a project, and I'll tell you that unless your video gets to be really, really long, your project will be able to be shared via email without a problem, and it will send almost instantly. So if you wanted to give feedback to students via Explain Everything, like let's say you imported a paper, graded it on Explain Everything, and wanted to email it back, this is super fast, and it's not very much, really very much time added on, which is a real benefit. So there we go. That's our list of how you can do all of these things on Explain Everything, and when they get done, if you want them to explore, I would suggest exploring with that nice little I button here. This is one that's interesting with arranging, editing, and locking. And there are a couple other things they could probably find if they would like, but nonetheless, that's the short of how to use Explain Everything.